Hi and welcome to another video in my Learning Lightroom series. Now Lightroom 6 or Lightroom CC has just been released, and in this and future videos I'm going to talk about some of the new exciting features in this new version of Lightroom. Now there has been some speculation as to whether it would just be a cloud-based version or whether it would be released as both standalone version and a cloud version. And it's been released as both, so you can buy it actually as a standalone version, which is called Lightroom 6, or you can buy it as the cloud version, which is called Lightroom CC. Now that's good news for those that don't like the subscription service at the moment, though whether this will be the future that Adobe's engineering, only time will tell. Anyway, in this video I want to look at two new photo merge features, HDR and Panorama. Now both of these could be done before by Lightroom sending the images to Photoshop or Photomatics or whatever software you're using, and then bringing the finished images back into Lightroom. So what's the point, you might say? It's not really a new feature then. Well, yeah it is, and it works much better than before. Let me explain. In previous versions of Lightroom you had to do any white balance and noise and sharpening before you sent the images to Photoshop. Now this was because when the raw files are handed off to, say, Photoshop, Lightroom converts them to a TIFF file, and any settings are then baked into the image. Now the image was then processed in Photoshop and then brought back into Lightroom as a TIFF. So if you didn't correct the white balance, for instance, that incorrect white balance will be baked into the image and could be difficult to correct. Now in Lightroom CC these raw files are processed and they're kept as raw files, and the final image is presented as a DNG file, so any issues with white balance and processing can be addressed easily because it's still a raw file when it's finished. So let's start with the panorama feature. So let's select these four images here that I took of the Millennium Bridge in York. I'm going to click on the first one. I'm going to shift click on the last one to select them all. Now there are several ways you could get into the panorama feature, and one of them is to go up to the photo menu and down to photo merge and panorama. There's also a keyboard shortcut, Ctrl+M. Or we could right click on any part of the image, and you can't see it because it's off the screen, but there is a photo merge menu and a panorama menu. Or you could right click on any of the thumbnail menus and again select photo merge and panorama. Any of these will set us off in the right direction. You can see it now creating the panorama. Now this opens up the panorama merge preview dialog, and I do like to have the auto select projection tick, just like I used to do in Photoshop. If it don't look right, you can try one of these others, the spherical, cylindrical or perspective. I like to keep auto crop selected, because if that's switched off you do tend to get these white areas around the edge that we don't really want. So if I leave that on, it crops it nicely for me. And then when I finish that, I just click the merge button. And you can see that it's chugging away nicely in the corner, and I have to say this does it a lot quicker than Photoshop used to do. It's now creating the panorama for me, and any moment now it'll appear in the film strip. So here it is, the finished panorama down in the film strip. Just double click to open it up. You can see now that it's attached the word pano, but it's now .dng. It's a DNG file, it's a raw file still. So if we want to go and edit this now, we can with all the full power of Camera Raw. So we'll go into the Develop module, we'll go up to the Basic panel, and now we can make any adjustments that we like in here. Might want to drop the exposure down a little bit, bring them highlights down to get a bit of sky back, lighten the shadows, and maybe add a little bit of clarity. And of course if the white balance isn't correct, then we can change it in here. So that's the merge to panorama feature. Let's now look at the merge to HDR feature. So first let's find some images. I'm going to press the G key to go back to library module. And then we'll find some HDR images. There we go. Let's have a look at, we'll try those three. So I'm going to click on the first one, shift click on the last one, and then I'm going to go up to photo, photo merge, and HDR. Or there is a keyboard shortcut of Control and H. You can see it brings up the merge preview dialog, and it's creating the HDR preview for me now. There it is. Now I'll leave auto align checked just in case there's any slight movements between the images, because these were handheld. I'll leave auto tone on because I want it to tone it. If there's a possibility that there was any movement of any items within the image, like if there were trees and they've got leaves on and they could move between exposures, then there is a deghosting function. And we can pick an amount. I mean, on this one it won't because there are no leaves in the crypt at York Minster. But we could have a low or a medium or a high. And what we can do then is we can show the deghosting overlay. So if I tick on that, if there is any ghosting, it'll show up as like a red rubylith overlay. But I don't think there will be down here. No, there isn't. So I'm going to go for none. And then I'm going to click merge. And again you can see up in the progress bar it's creating the HDR image for me. And oh, wow, that's done it already. This is a lot swifter than it was before. So here it is. I'll just double click to open it up. And again, this is a DNG file. It's a RAW file. And so I can now go in and I've got all the benefits of the camera RAW. I can go into my basic panel. If the white balance is wrong, I can change it. I can now go down. Let's make some adjustments. Say we'll just drop the exposure a little bit. We'll boost the shadows a little more. Go down, add a little bit of clarity, maybe a little bit more vibrance, whatever. Having this back as a RAW file is a huge advantage compared to pixel-based files. So that's it, a brief look at two of the new and I suspect popular features of the new Lightroom CC. Much more to come over the next few weeks. Please, if you get a moment, subscribe to my YouTube channel to be kept up to date with future episodes. That's all for now. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.